Hi, hello, and welcome to Homemade TV on Wednesday, the 15th of July 2020. My name's Chris Gosling, and we're off on one of our little program formats. We've got two people watching, I can see. Good morning and welcome to you. Don't know who you are, make yourself known, give us a wave. What we're doing today, well, we've got two or three interesting stories, or at least I hope you think they're interesting stories. And I picked the stories in Homemade TV essentially because they're ones that kind of don't catch the amount of attention I think they deserve. And they are also stories that I think are specifically relevant to older people. So that's the reason for that. If you like what we do here on Homemade TV, give me a like, give me a subscribe on YouTube. Do as you choose. I'd love to hear from you. Send me a message, DMs or whatever you like, and you can also contact me. Let's just give you the correct email address, because we've changed the email address, as you may well know, and I'll just give you that. There we go. It's chris@homemadetv.co.uk. Get in touch with me with that one. I will be delighted to hear from you. I'll include it again during the show, and it's also on our back end screen, so you can find the email address. Drop me a line. Any ideas, any thoughts you have, I'd love to hear from you. Okay, what have we got? Let's see. Good heavens. Well, we've got Anton Merico. Good morning, Anton. Nice to see you there. I don't know where you are. And we've also got Mike, Poppy and Frank. Hey, that's Rohan on tour, which is our friend, young Mike Harvey Murray, who I hope we'll have on the show before too long. I never quite know what Mike's up to because he's a busy guy. And I hope he's getting busier and busier as the days go by. Okay, what are we going to start with today? We're going to start with this little story. I think this is really an interesting one. I think it's a fascinating story because it's a topic that I haven't seen anywhere else before, and here it comes. Only 12% of British people say that they want to return to the UK exactly as it was before once the pandemic is over. I think that's a really, really interesting one, and I would really, really like to know what you think. The company is called Britain Thinks, and they're one of these research consultancies, and they did a kind of trial over the COVID period by getting a number of people, not a great number of people, I have to say, I think it was 50 or more, to actually write diaries reflecting how they felt. And the kind of thing that was coming through, and the kind of thing that has come through over the period, is that Britons in general seem to want the country, our country, to turn into a kinder, more equal and more supportive place to live. What they're essentially saying is that people think they would like to see more support for the NHS, better funding, better treatment and pay for essential workers, and an economic recovery that doesn't just focus on London. That was an interesting one as well, because I think people have constantly had this problem that we think that London is the centre of the universe. According to their survey, 6 out of 10 people said they'd be willing to pay more tax to see the NHS better funded. And I think that's a really interesting turn up for the book. There were also, an even more interesting one, only 17% of their sample said that they thought that the government should cut funding to repay the debt incurred by coronavirus. I think that's a really interesting one. People are essentially, I think, saying that we should put ourselves first, i.e. our country first, rather than go on and on about, oh, we owe so many people so much money. It's one of those things that happens, isn't it? Okay, what have we got here? Oh, good morning, Alan Abbott, my little friend Alan. Nice to see you. Hope you're doing all right. That's a horrendous picture. I must say, I ought to have done this before. Show you a few pictures. This is Anton as well. Morning, Anton. And this is young Mike. Well, it's not young Mike. It's actually Rohan, who sadly is no longer with us, but he's left some relatives, I think, who Mike is the proud owner of and master of. What can you say? Okay, it's awful, isn't it? I love dogs, and I have to tell you that I've on many occasions said to people, I like a lot of dogs better than I like a lot of people. Is that a good thing to say? It's probably too rude. Okay, so let's get on with the show. Now, that one really interested me. It really got me. And what I'm going to do is include a link to that article about the Britain after the COVID-19 survey that was done by Britain Thinks. I think it's a really interesting piece, and I'll put a link to that on the YouTube page, and I'll try also to put a link to it on the Facebook page, because I think people will find that an interesting read. I know that I certainly did. So give that a look, see what you think, and I'm just having a little moment of truth here, as I always do during these things, because as you know, it's we get quite busy on this when you're doing this on your own. Okay, what we got next? Well, this. If you're a keen cruise fan looking for a new and unusual cruise from a UK port, New Line Tradewind Voyages is offering 9 UK-based cruises starting in May 2021. There will be 7 cruises starting from Harwich and 2 starting from Glasgow aboard their new square-rigged sailing ship Golden Horizon, which carries just 272 passengers. After her UK debut, the ship will be heading off to Bali, where it will sail itineraries featuring Indonesia, Australia, Japan and Alaska. You can discover more from the website linked at the end of this clip. So if you're a cruise fan, that's an interesting one for next year. We'll try and get more pictures, I hope sooner or later, for the interior of that ship to show you what the suites and accommodation are like. It should be interesting. A bit more news on the holiday front that people may have missed. A company called Fleetway Travel, who ran quite a lot of interesting brands: Exclusive Luxury Breaks, Explorers Collection, Late Bargains, Luxury Holiday Collection, Phone and Fly, Sail Away, Silver Surfers Holidays and Travel Smart have gone bust. That's a bit sad. More sad when travel companies go bust, because they leave so many people kind of out in the cold. Currently, apparently, Fleetway have around 6,500 bookings in place, but nearly, we think that most, if not all of those, are covered by ATOL, which means that sooner or later they will get their money back. I'm just looking down to see whether there are any. Yeah, there are currently thought to be no customers of theirs abroad on holiday due to government restrictions. So in effect, all of the people who had their holidays booked with that company will get their money back, but sadly they just won't get their holiday. I guess you have to say it's a pain really for everybody. People are now starting to go on holiday, and I'd be fascinated to know what you're doing if you've had to change your holiday arrangements and make if you like, ad hoc arrangements, whatever, to actually get a decent holiday yourself for this year. Okay, going to give you a little reminder now for this one, which is don't forget you can now get in touch with me through this email address. It's chris@homemadetv.co.uk. And I will do my best to come back to you with sensible responses. If you've got anything interesting to tell me, I'd love to hear from you. I'd specifically like to hear what you thought about that first story, the COVID-19 after effects and how we want Britain to be, if we have any choice. So that's an interesting one. I'd love to get some responses on that. And I'd like to see if there's anything else you want me to raise. Now, let's move on to my next topic. And the next one is this one. It's pension credit. You remember I said last week I wanted to look into this a bit more before talking about it. And I've done that. And to be honest with you, I'm a bit gobsmacked. What I'm gobsmacked about is the fact that at the moment, 1 in 3 of the people who are actually entitled to get pension credit don't actually get it. And I think that's pretty awful. And whose fault is it? Well, I don't know if there is a fault. The way that many of our benefits work is that you have to claim them. The government doesn't rush up and say, hey, you should be getting this money. They kind of say, oh, this money's available, that money's available. Claim it if you want to. And in reality, that leaves, I think, a lot of pensioners, a lot of older people out in the cold, because a lot of us, if you like, tend to look at what we get in terms of pension, etc., and say, oh, well, that must be what I'm entitled to then, which is kind of a bit of a sad one, really, and a bit of a bad reflection. But I think the truth is that we need to actually start kicking up a little bit more about getting the things that we're entitled to. And some of those things include things like pension credit. What's pension credit about? Well, essentially what it is an extra payment. If you are a pensioner, it's an extra payment to bring you up to a level. And it applies to both single people and married people. It applies even to people who own their own houses. It's not a really very exclusive benefit, but it does revolve around what money you have and what money you have coming in, and also what you have saved up, because there's another side to pension credit called savings credit, which gives you some additional income if you're saved up for your retirement. Worthwhile. So the way it works, let me just give you a little clue as to how it works. Oh my goodness me. That's a nice one. I'll just bring you this. I'll just show you this chap. See what I can do with that. Yeah, Daniel. Good morning to you, Daniel Most. You love my breakfast photos. Well, I have to tell you, I love my breakfast because I've always said that breakfast is the best meal of the day. When I was sailing a lot, I used to eat a big breakfast and then go off. And if I was lucky, I got a dry biscuit at lunchtime and then a meal in the evening. So to me, breakfast is the middle of the day. Good morning to you, Daniel. Nice to see you there. Okay, let's get back to pension and pension credit and savings credit. I'm going to just show you a couple of things because I think these are really, well, worth looking at. First and foremost, this one. The mighty government actually, although it doesn't kind of go out of its way to give you money, does in fact have ways of seeing if you need any, or if you deserve, in inverted commas, any money. We all deserve more money, I think. But the truth is that the pension credit thing you have to apply for. And this is a page on the government's website that actually allows you to apply for pension credit. But more friendly for older people, I think, and maybe for relatives, is this one, which is a benefits calculator from Age UK. Age UK, as you know, I'm sure, are very helpful towards older people. And at the moment, they have a really interesting and useful tool on their website called a benefit calculator. If you're retired, if you're a younger person with retired relatives who you're concerned about, you can go on this site, you can fill out the calculator and see if the pensioners, if your family or whoever, are entitled to more benefits or more money. Now, to me, that's really, really a useful thing to have. If you're a family member, you have an older member of your family who maybe lives on their own or as a couple, and you're a bit worried about their financial well-being, those two places would be two places you should go. That's the government website and the Age UK website to see if they can get, or if they're entitled to, more money from the government. Don't forget this figure that out of the people who get benefit credit, 2 out of the 3 get it. 1 in every 3 who's entitled to it does not get it because they haven't applied. So this is really actually more of an appeal, I think, to the families of older people. Have a little look at your situation, at your retired people's situation, and see whether they need a bit more help. And it's quite possible that there may be more help coming from the government or available from the government in the form of pension and savings credit. Look it up, see what you think, and I'd love to hear from you if you have a go at this, see how you get on, tell me what result you get. And this is the one you need to look at. You need to check out pension credit. As it says on the government's own documents, you can be eligible for pension credit even if you have a pension, savings, or own your own home. So I think it's really, really vitally important that if you can, you get those people to get in touch, to use those calculators and see whether they're entitled to credit. Okay, well, I have to tell you that's kind of as far as I'm going this week, but I'd like to remind you that you can now get in touch with me directly by email, chris@hometv.co.uk. I would love to hear from you. Oh, and I've got a gentleman. What have we got here? Oh, right. Okay. Hi, Phil Eglinton. Hiya to you too, matey. Okay, so we're going to say farewell for the moment and see where we go from here. I've now got 5 viewers and it's the end of my show, but what can you say? Okay, I will be back on Friday with another show, bringing you up to date with news for, I guess you'd say, older people and for people with rallies, etc., that they're concerned about. And we try and give you the stories that the mainstream press miss out on. Okay, all right. I'll see you soon. Take very good care of yourself. Take very good care of the people that you care about. And above all, enjoy yourselves.